ask you to close your eyes for just a moment. Please open your eyes. When I hear beautiful sounds like this, and my eyes are closed, my heart opens up and it makes room for a story. My name is LuAnn Adams, and I would like to share with you 2 love stories tonight. The poet Alma Ferte once said, "To the weak, difficulty is a closed door. To the strong, however, it's a door waiting to be opened." The first story I actually heard in a doorway. It was a dark and stormy night, pouring sheets of rain, and I was waiting for the MTA bus with the Canadian storyteller Dan Yashinsky. And he said, "LuAnn, I think you might like a story." And the story he told, I loved. And a few years later, I wanted to record this story, and the only source was from the estate of a woman named Joan Grant. And she was a famous psychic healer at the turn of the century in England. And she wrote many, many books about her past lives. And the story that I want to share with you was a story that she heard when she was a boy, the son of a powerful pharaoh in Egypt. They gave me permission to tell this story, and in October 2010, I had the wonderful pleasure on a beautiful star-filled night of sharing this story on a boat going down the great Nile River. The Blue Faience Hippopotamus. A long time ago, along the shores of the great Nile River, there was once a huge palace, and in that palace there lived a pharaoh. He was very powerful, and he wore the double crown. But he was an angry man. He screamed at his 47 wives. He yelled and screamed at his 77 children, and his servants, who numbered in the hundreds, ran from him in terror. And the youngest princess, who was a friend of music and laughter, went to her father one day and said, "Father, please, please let me take my nursemaid and go and live on an island somewhere where we can live in peace and quiet, and maybe I can learn how to smile again." And her father said, "All right, you may go, but you can't just take your nursemaid. You need rowers and servants and gardeners and maids." So they all got on long boats, and they rowed down the great Nile River. And they found an island, and everyone was happy. The rowers married the maids, the cooks married the gardeners, and every morning the young princess would go to the opposite side of the island, and she'd take a bath and sunbathe. And she'd say, "Maybe a prince will come by in a boat. He'll see me, and he'll want to marry me." Well, one morning as she was sunbathing, a young hippopotamus saw her. And when he saw her, he fell in love. He was so in love, he stopped eating. His skin grew 2 sizes too big. And his family became worried. They said, "What happened to the female hippo you were interested in before? Marry her, have hippopotamus babies." And he said, oh yes, I will." But he never did. And one morning as he was chewing on delicious water plants, waiting for a glimpse of his princess, 2 great egrets flew down. And it was obvious that the egrets were married. And the husband said to his wife, "My dear, it was amazing, amazing, amazing. I flew up to the 4th cataract, you know, the big, big waterfall. There's a magician there. He can change anything into anything. And I saw him with my own 2 eyes change 2 huge giraffes into butterflies. My dear, it was amazing, amazing, amazing." And his wife said, "I sit on an egg. I just sit on it and sit on it and sit on it. And it turns into a baby bird. You don't say amazing, amazing, amazing." They flew off arguing softly, the way married people do. A magician who can change anything into anything? The young hippopotamus began to swim upstream. It took him 2 seasons to get to the 4th waterfall. and he saw a cave at the top, and he was about to climb out and peek inside when two of the most surprised-looking butterflies flew out. He peeked into the cave. There was a strange man sitting on a pile of animal skins, sewing crocodile teeth together. "Well, are you going to come in or go out? You're blocking all my light." The young hippopotamus stepped in. "What do you want?" "Could you tell me, were those two butterflies that just flew out, were they once giraffes?" "Ah, very clever of you to notice now. They were frogs. Easy magic. What can I do for you?" "Could you change me?" "Well, what do you want to be changed into?" "Could you change me into something that a princess would love?" "Something a princess would love?" "Ah! Chocolate cake! Ah, you're gonna try a chocolate cake!" No. Could you turn me into a prince?" "Ah! Human beings, too much trouble." A tear rolled down the young hippopotamus's face. "What's wrong with who you are?" "I'm too big." "Well, I can make you smaller, I can change your color, I can change your shape. Blue, would you make me blue? Blue is her favorite color." "Small blue, what shape would you like to be?" "Well, I guess my own shape." There's no better shape than that of a hippopotamus. "Small blue Blue Faience, blue glass! You will be the only one of your kind in all of Egypt." And all of a sudden, the walls of the cave grew very tall. The magician's foot became as big as a mountain, and the little hippo could feel himself being lifted into the air. Not bad if I say so myself. Oh, I almost forgot to tell you. Every one I change, I get one wish. You may discover that your dream isn't what you thought it was going to be. You may want to be a hippopotamus again, but don't be in a small boat on the Great Nile River and say, "I want to be a hippo again." You'll get big, you'll break the boat, and everybody will drown. There was a commotion outside, and a trader came in to pick up all the things that the magician had prepared for him to sell. And when he saw the little blue hippo, he said, "I'll take that!" And the little hippo was wrapped in red velvet and put on the boat. And in a matter of hours, he was back at the island where the princess lived. And when she saw the little blue hippo, she said, "Oh, I must have him!" And she bought him. And from that day, he was next to her heart. She shared with him all of her secrets, and she loved him, and he loved her. And time passed. And time passed. And after a while, she wasn't such a little princess anymore. And the Blue Faience Hippopotamus spent more and more time on the table next to her bed. And after weeks and months and nearly a year went by before she picked him up, he thought one night, if I never would have met this princess, I'd still be living in the cool Black Nile River, eating delicious water plants. I might even have a son or daughter of my own by now. And he determined to use his wish in the morning to go back home. Just then the princess came back into her room, and she was crying. "You're so lucky, little blue hippopotamus. You don't have any feelings. When I came to this island, I thought a prince would come by on a boat, and he would see me, and he'd want to marry me. Princes come by. Oh, they wave. But they never get off the boat. I am so lonely." She put him back on the shelf, and she wept into her pillow. The young hippopotamus began to wish. "I wish that the man who is right for the princess's heart will come by tomorrow, and that they will be happy forever." And because the magician was a good magician, the wish came true. The next day a boat came by with a handsome prince. And when he saw the princess and she saw him, they knew they'd never be lonely again. And the day was all sunshine and roses, and only one bad thing happened. A servant was dusting the furniture when she knocked the little blue hippo on the floor, and he broke into 100 pieces. When the princess saw her little blue hippo in pieces on the floor, she wept. But when her prince was announced at the door, she ran to be with him. And the next thing the little blue hippopotamus knew, he was back in the cave of the magician. I had you brought back here. I couldn't rightly leave you there. Don't worry. I got every single piece of you. You know, in all of my years of changing one being to another, nobody has ever used their wish for anybody but themselves. And because you did that, little blue hippopotamus, in your next lifetime, you don't have to come back as an animal. You can come back as a man, and the highest form of man. You can be an Egyptian. And the next thing the little hippopotamus knew, he was hearing the voice of the woman he loved so much. Oh, my beautiful baby boy. You are the beautifulest baby ever born. And she never knew. She never ever knew that he was once a little blue. And if she did, I bet she'd love him even more.